Las Vegas Boulevard where they were driving very erratically. They radioed that they heard the gunfire and saw these vehicles traveling in such an erratic fashion. Other officers who were working the strip area were able to get the vehicles stopped here. As you see, the black BMW was traveling on the rims on the right side. Once they got here, they found that the passenger in the black BMW had been shot 4 times, and the driver appeared to be hit with fragments in the head area.
When I heard the shots being fired, Pac stood up to try to get in the back seat to get out the way of the shots. That's how he got shot in his hip, which hit one of the bones, the doctor said, and traveled to hit his lung. When he stood up, I grabbed him down and covered him. When I pulled him down, that's when I got shot in my head.
You use Tupac as a shield?
Definitely.
Yeah?
That's a fact.
I mean, Keefe D never said that.
Well, they pulled off. You can't see that. Like, Keefe D can talk all he want. Let me explain something to you. When something is ringing, you pulling off. You know what I'm saying? So you can't see what's going on inside. Because remember, they say Tupac tried to get to the back by the way of the middle opening. He just could never get to the back. I don't know why a dude is that you could never get to the back.
How did Tupac catch all that heat and Suge only got nicked? And he's 4 times bigger than this nigga. He's a much bigger target. Tupac could have dodged them bullets. It's not adding up.
Suge didn't have a, look, unless Suge got a bullet in his head after that night, the nurse said to us he got hit with a piece of shrapnel, maybe a piece of glass, right?
You're right.
Why would the nurse wouldn't say that if dude had a bullet in his head?
So that whole story about Suge having a bullet fragment in his head is not true?
She said he was getting a couple of stitches and he'd be taken to a private room.
Right. And I also heard you make a comment saying that, the last 2 months of Tupac's life, it was a lot of tension between Tupac and Death Row, and Tupac wasn't happy on Death Row.
Yeah, I mean, look, like I said, from the minute that I met him until the day he died, it seemed that the tensions with Death Row were increasing exponentially.
Deep slash with a bullet grazed the back of my neck, which if it had went another inch, it'd hit my spine and paralyzed me all the way down.
Reports that this was gang related, that these were 2 gang members that thought they did it in spite of Tupac.
If it was gang related, then why didn't it happen thoroughly? You see, there's parts of this story that just don't seem to make sense.
Right.
You're saying it was gang related, so that means somebody's gang was shooting at somebody's gang, and then somebody's gang didn't shoot back. That's your story? That's not really how gang stuff works, is it?
Do you have any idea who shot Suge?
I'm pretty sure Suge knows who shot Suge.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
so when he comes out of sedation, I'm sure anybody who gets shot will tell you who shot them, right?
Yeah.
But if the police say nobody shot him, I believe nobody shot him. And if nobody shot him, that's the same nobody that shot Tupac. And if nobody shot Tupac, it's the same nobody that shot MLK. And if nobody shot him, that's the same person that shot Malcolm X too. It's a lot of nobodies out there, and nobody minds if nobody comes up missing, right?
But that wasn't a hard hit. All you do is pull up just far too far from the other car. And people think that, well, Suge Knight didn't get killed. You're not firing directly. This is Cadillac pulling up. You pull up real close, we're talking about 6 inches away. But you pull up on an angle. You have to understand it's a slight angle, and you're shooting back. Suge Knight got hit with a piece of glass. He was not intended to talk. How you gonna miss a 350 fat fuck like him? Excuse me for curse. If you were shooting into a car. So it was a sign hit. And
How do you feel about the people that say you was using Tupac as a shield when the BMW was getting shot at?
First of all, even though it was one of my undercover cars, I don't ride in cheap shit, all the little shit. I'm a grown-ass man. You must got me mixed up with the little people, the 5-footers. So therefore, it was a big 750,
And if you look at the bullets and you look at everything, how it happened, and you look at the fact that where I got shot at, I grabbed Tupac and put him down and laid on top of him. That's how I got shot in the head.
Suge talk Tupac into going to Vegas that night? Did he not want, like, apparently he wanted to go to Atlanta or something? Can you speak to that?
Everybody know the rumor that, I believe it's Kenny Lassane, my boy Bill. Man, I tell you, Bill Lassane is a good dude. William Lassane. Really like that brother. But his brother Kenny, he allegedly stole the gun, one of Tupac guns that he had at a house and went and pawned it at a pawn shop, or maybe the local man. And so Tupac heard about it and was mad. Anybody ever been on parole and I don't know, on an appeals bond, and everybody always say, yo, Tupac, they want to say Tupac was made to go to Vegas by Suge and all of that. No, Suge liked going to Vegas and he loved having that party atmosphere and having everybody out there. He knew that it was a big marketing event because Pac was, was supposed to, I believe. No, that wasn't the time. I don't think he was supposed to walk out with him, rapping a song. Some talks about that. I don't know if it was that fight or a fight prior to that. But definitely the song All Out, he was definitely playing, and that was the music for the fight. And so Suge was like, hey man, you can go deal with that after that. You can go deal with that, and then, but you need to go to Vegas.
I'm going to keep telling this story because I think it's the easiest way and they're going to ask me questions about it. So we were on this nonstop schedule. Pac was doing movies. He was recording albums, and we were shooting videos wherever we could. So for the first few videos, there was a bit of a tug of war because every time Pac said he wants his crew to do it, Suge and Death Row wanted someone else to do it, right? So there was always this confrontation, but it sort of felt like from the minute that I met Tupac to the minute he died, the tension with Death Row was increasing exponentially, right? And what I could gather was mostly financial. Every week, the tension was increasing. So a couple of weeks before Vegas, Yasmin Fuller called us to the office, me and Tracy, and she said, go, I need you to write this letter firing David Kenner and Pac's legal team. So I wrote up the letter, took it to Pac, got his signature, I faxed it over to his legal team, and it was that day, a couple of weeks before Vegas, that he fired David Kenner and his legal team. And I believe he fired Reggie Wright and Right Way either the same day or the day after. And it was obvious. He was ready. Pac was ready to fly the coop. So for 2 weeks, they tried to get him to go to Vegas and he wouldn't go, right? Multiple times I heard that they wanted him to go to Vegas. He wouldn't go. Finally, I believe it was September 6th. I heard that Pac was going because Mike Tyson's going to walk out to one of his songs. I knew something in my gut was fucked up about Vegas, right? One, because he didn't want to go, but two, because of all the tension that was in the air.
Suge Knight and Tupac had a vicious fight in New York at the MTV Awards. And Tupac told one of the bodyguards, after he was finished with a video shoot, they're walking him to the airplane, he told this bodyguard, who's a real good friend of mine to this day, he said, I'm a dead man walking. And he said, Pac, why would you say something like that? He said, because I don't want to go to Vegas, and I got a bad feeling about it. And that was September 6th. It was a Friday because they had just finished shooting Toss It Up. Absolutely. Somebody set him up. Now, the conclusion, recently, within the last week or two, the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, the FBI released a 349-page document saying that in their findings, that Suge Knight and Reggie Wright orchestrated and put a hit on both of them.
This was in New York after the MTV Music Awards. Prior to us going home, there was an altercation about what Snoop had done over the radio while we were in the limo.
What did you tell me he told you? I know you and I had a conversation. You told me that Pac felt like I think what it was is that I think at a time after we did the MTV Awards, I think after we did the MTV Awards, You know, I don't know what went down, but he wasn't too happy about it, and he didn't care about going anywhere. You know, so he didn't feel like he didn't want to go to Vegas. I don't even think he wanted to do the video.
Tupac said, "Hey, fuck it, I'm out of here." The last thing he said to me prior to leaving was, he's not going to be in Vegas. I don't have to worry about him showing up, and don't worry about it because he won't be there. That's what he told me right before we put him on the plane.
These were some of the words, not word for words, that came out his mouth. He said Snoop was corny. He was taking too much time doing a record. He'd take all day doing one song. He says, I'm paying Nate Dogg child support, okay? And at that point, that's when I knew, oh, wow, this guy is not happy.
I always heard this rumor that Tupac, he was supposed to go to Atlanta instead of Vegas, but you was begging him to go. Is there any truth to that?
No truth to that.
William was saying, right, we had him on a platform, and he confirmed the story about how Tupac, he was supposed to go to Atlanta instead of Vegas because one of his cousins sold his guns. But he said that he wasn't the one that sold them. He said that his brother is the one that sold Tupac guns. But I guess what I want to ask you is, did you know about this in real time?
Of course, I remember that. Yes, I remember vividly when they stole, because Pac was furious. He was like, bro, he was going crazy.
Only time that he wanted to go to Atlanta, and we was planning on going to Atlanta after Vegas because he got a relative, a real family member. And Pac hated this dude. He said they used to steal from him, do him dirty when he was young because they was older than him. And he stated that the guy stole all his guns. Tupac had guns out there in Atlanta. He said the guy stole them and he wanted to go out there and beat the shit out of him with his motherfucking ass. He said, look, man, I'm going to Atlanta, fuck the dude up. I need you to come with me. I need you to come with me.
He was like, I remember him saying, but Moo, you're not going to go. Noble, just me, Casual, because that's also Casual brother, Kenny. You understand? And he was like, it just, that our family is going to go and deal with this. And as you guys stay, we'll be back, like that type of stuff. You know what I mean? And Parker, I remember he was real mad. Like he didn't want to bring like outsiders, because Kenny mother, his mother are sisters. So Pac didn't want to seem like he's bringing these outsider dudes to come in his mother house or aunt house to put hands on his cousin. So he said, no, as family, only us going to go and handle this.
He said, look, man, I'm going to Atlanta, fuck the dude up. I need you to come with me.
You know what I mean? It's going to hurt. Basically, it's going to hurt my aunt, who he loved dearly, but he's like, I have to do what I have to do.
I just said, what's up? He tell me, he's like I just told you, he said, man, my relative stole all my guns from his mother house or whatever and sold them, right? Because he was a dope fiend or not. So I said, look, you know I'm going to go with you. When we go out there and you get on this dude and we get on this dude, it's going to be all bad. So that's not fair if you don't want it. He said, man, you know I want it. He said, well, after the fight, we will go out there and whip his ass.
I remember he was real mad. Like he didn't want to bring like outsiders, because Kenny mother, his mother are sisters. So Pac didn't want to seem like he's bringing these outsider dudes to come in his mother house or aunt house to put hands on his cousin. So he said, no, as family, only us going to go and handle this.
So the thing is this then, why didn't Tupac just go to Atlanta? That would have avoided everything.
That would have avoided everything. But he was talking to going to Vegas, you know? He was because he at first I know he wanted to go straight to, you know, Atlanta. But then Suge told him to come to Vegas and he agreed to go.
Suge told him to come to Vegas and he agreed to go. So Suge was like, hey, man, you can go deal with that after that. You know, you can go deal with that, you know, and then, but you need to go to Vegas.
Who killed Tupac? Would you tell the police?
Absolutely not.
Why not?
Because it's not my job. I don't get paid to solve homicides. I don't get paid to tell on people.
If you knew, you wouldn't tell them?
No.
People running around basically saying, Tupac, he had a gun and it was this, that, and the other. To your knowledge, he had no gun?
No. The guns, to my knowledge, his bodyguard, Frank Alexander, at that time, God bless his soul, was told he couldn't have, Frank Alexander was told he couldn't carry his pistol while in Vegas. So it was like once we got there, it was like, oh, so now Frank Alexander is not able to walk around strapped. I don't know for what reason why, but Frank Alexander was not able to walk around strapped.
The Voice was definitely one of our, not paid security, but one of security that works with directly for Mr. Knight came over the radio. Now, I couldn't pinpoint exactly whose voice it was, but it was some voice that I had heard before. So I knew it was one of our, not one of our direct security that was hired with us, but one of the, what do we call them? One of the homeboy securities, you said, got him right before me and Mr. Wright got in the vehicle to go get to the hospital.
Michael Moore, the night that Tupac was shot, after being taken off of Tupac with me, went back over to Club 662.
Then someone else came on the radio and said, hey, don't say nothing over the radio.
So Michael was with Reggie and they went to the hospital together. And Michael talks about hearing something over the radio. Well, he would have heard it over Reggie's radio because he wouldn't have had a radio that night.
How did you find out Tupac was shot, by the way?
By two gentlemen that came from the scene.
So Michael was with Reggie and they went to the hospital together. And Michael talks about hearing something over the radio. Well, he would have heard it over Reggie's radio because he wouldn't have had a radio that night.
Ran up to me inside the nightclub and told me that, hey, Suge and Pac just got shot. They just got shot down the street. I didn't believe him.
Yeah.
But we had several police officers working the front door of the club, on duty Las Vegas police officers, and they started taking off. And there was an attorney with me by the name of George Calise that was standing right next to me, and he and I went and talked to the cops. They told them that Suge and them were down there, had just been shot, and myself and Mr. Calise and another one of my security guards jumped in the car and started heading that way and eventually to the hospital.
George Calises called the meeting at the behest of Reggie Wright Jr. All of the bodyguards were there.
Never before had we had a meeting at an attorney's office or with an attorney even present.
Reggie Wright told us not to carry any weapons. Never have they told me to leave my weapons, either in my room or my car.
So they were asking us to guard Pac and Suge and everyone else completely unarmed. We had never been told to leave our weapons.
Reggie asked me to ride with him to the meeting. I was actually going to ride with Michael Moore. He began to tell me about how he was upset at Kevin Hackie, and that Kevin Hackie had my Nextel two-way cell phone radio that should have been given to me when I arrived in Vegas.
Tupac Shakur, a now former Compton officer, is offering a $100,000 challenge to the man he's convinced was behind the murder. Chris Blatchford has the latest developments.
This scene has haunted Las Vegas investigators for 11 years, and detectives there are now planning a fresh trip to Los Angeles, seeking information leading to the gunman who shot up this BMW and killed rap star Tupac Shakur.
It wasn't a random shooting.
Former Tupac bodyguard Frank Alexander. In this new documentary released in October, recounts 24 bodyguards that night were told not to carry weapons. Tupac's murder, a setup, he charges, orchestrated by Death Row Records CEO Marion Suge Knight and Reggie Wright Jr., the record company's security chief.
It could not have happened in the way that it did without them having knowledge of it.
But Suge says, why would he order Tupac shot knowing he'd be sitting right next to him in the BMW? He says he had nothing to do with Tupac's murder.
God knows the truth. And when it comes down to it, it's not one person in the world with any sense of know I have anything to do with getting Tupac shot.
And Reggie Wright gave an interview to AllHipHop.com saying the documentary is filled with outright lies. But Kevin Hackie, another former Tupac bodyguard, is challenging Reggie Wright Jr.'s truthfulness.
I'm offering Reggie right now $100K to take a polygraph. That he had no involvement whatsoever to do with Tupac's killing.
Hackie, according to these court filings, worked for 2 years as an undercover agent for the FBI and ATF, helping the feds.
To investigate Marion Knight and Death Row Records for racketeering violations.
And Hackie, a former Compton School District police officer who worked off-duty hours as a Tupac bodyguard, now reveals to Fox 11 News an interesting series of events. He says, here at the House of Blues in 1996, an off-duty Santa Monica cop working security confiscated a .40 caliber Glock handgun similar to this from a member of Tupac Shakur's entourage.
About 2 weeks after that, I was contacted by Reggie to go over to Santa Monica Police Department to pick up this firearm.
Hackie says he first showed the handgun to his FBI handlers and then turned it over to Reggie Wright Jr. A month later in Las Vegas, investigators say it was a .40 Glock handgun that killed Tupac Shakur. Hackie believes the murder weapon was the same gun he gave Reggie Wright Jr.
I believe it is.
And here's why. Hackie says he asked Wright about the .40 Glock.
He stated once I gave him that firearm, he gave it back to his daddy, who at the time was a lieutenant with Compton Police over the gang division. He stated his daddy booked that firearm in the property, which, is really and truly far-fetched.
And Hackie says 6 months after Tupac's murder, he had another conversation with Reggie Jr. about the missing handgun. It didn't go well.
Reggie told me, hey, it ain't giving time. I have the money, I have the people, I can have you killed, it ain't giving time.
Hackie says he told his FBI handlers, and according to these transcripts obtained by Fox 11, also told LAPD detectives a decade ago that Wright had threatened, I can have you killed at any given time. Reggie Wright Jr. declined an on-camera interview, but in a written statement told us, I had nothing to do with Pac's death. He calls Hackie and former bodyguard Frank Alexander liars. But it's Hackie who was offering the truth challenge.
My 100,000 sitting here. I want Reggie to put up 100,000. I will gladly take a polygraph, and I will gladly take his money, and I'll go ahead and start a college fund for underprivileged kids in Las Vegas under Tupac's name.
In response, Wright tells Hackie, pay for it, set it up, let's do it. The polygraph challenge, he claims, is only a ruse to publicize Alexander's new Tupac documentary. A DVD Hackie says he has nothing to do with.
The only thing I want here is for Reggie to be arrested.
Was there a security plan in place? Was it thought that Tupac might have a threat on his life? Talk to me about what was happening then.
Well, we have an entourage of maybe about 10 homeboys is always with them. And generally we have 2 security guards that are signed, that are retired or off-duty police officers that works for me. That particular night, we only had one. I had another gentleman that arrived late, and because he said he got a late arrest, I wasn't notified of it. Not saying that even if I was notified of it, I would have thought that they had sufficient amount of security with them, because I know of all the death row staff security that was along with them as well.
I think Suge is just a big old light-skinned guy that don't know how to come out. I think he really a homo thug. See, this is what you got to understand, Art. And I've never been to the pen, but allegedly they got pen rules where you can when you can make somebody your whatever, I don't know what the term is, but you can fuck a nigga in jail and shit. That don't mean you gay, because it's a term that they do. It's penitentiary shit. There's penitentiary rules, and then there's getting out of jail rules. You know what I mean? And I think Suge is one of the, he's a pen nigga. He's been around the gang of them niggas for a third of his life, seemed like. He been in jail. So he understands that world. You know what I mean? Have you ever watched American Beauty?
Yeah, I've seen that before.
So you know how the lieutenant hated that his son was gay? He was mad at him, like, man, like you need to be a man, whoop-de-whoop. And then the first time he get a chance, he tried to tongue kiss the sergeant. It's like he was talking all that shit, but you really deep down love that world. You know what I mean? That's all I can see it.
Provision A, voluntary manslaughter with the strike prior conviction having been found true. Defendant is sentenced to state prison for the high term. The reason for the high term is as a condition of the plea bargain. The high term is 11 years and must be doubled under the strike law. Defendant is levied a term in state prison of 22 years. Pursuant to Penal Code Section 12022, Subdivision B, Subdivision 1, he is levied an additional and consecutive 1 year in state prison. Pursuant to Penal Code Section 667, Subdivision A, Subdivision 1, the prior conviction the defendant has admitted, he is levied an additional 5 years in state prison for a total unstayed term of 28 years. This time, the defendant is ordered transferred to Department 120 to have a dismissal on the other matter, which is part of the plea bargain. If there's nothing further, that'll be it. Thank you. Thank you.
The reason was he was scared to fight Bone. Bone wanted to fade. He fired on him through the window. Bang, bam, get out, nigga, get out. Instead of Suge, what'd he do? Threw the truck in reverse, threw it in drive, threw Bone off, bagged over him, ran over his leg, and then tried to make a run for it. See, this is the world don't want to see it for what it. Suge Knight got 28 years and killed his homie because he was scared to squabble Bone. Whoa. Think about what I'm telling you. All Bone wanted was a squabble. Wasn't no gun there. Bone had a walkie-talkie.
Suge Knight, and we said this in Tupac Assassination, Conspiracy of Revenge, that they set up that hit. And the reason I said that, I agree with you. Yeah, and the reason, exactly. The reason I said that is because of what transpired from 2001 when I wasn't blind anymore. You know? Yeah. Sometimes the blinders are on and we're like this, we only see this way. Right. But when you take those blinders off, you can see all around.
Made me drink pee in the 90s. I may still be thinking about that in 2018.
I mean, if I would, if it was me, you understand me, especially when he made everybody piss in the bucket.
What? So he made everybody piss in the bucket that he made? Now you got to explain the story, Charlamagne. People don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't know that. I never heard that one.
So,
I'm just saying.
So
Suge made everybody pee in a bucket.
Go for it, everybody.
And then who had to drink it?
He was one of the people that worked there, and he made that one mistake. You know.
What was the mistake he made?
Something about that. Something with the business. You know what I'm saying? Flights or rooms or something with some.
Oh, when somebody made a mistake, they would have to drink that pee.
Well, that was one method. This guy had to pee. Okay. They just, Suge pop him up a little bit. Pop, 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 pop. Then sit him down in the bathroom. And then, where's the bucket? Get that bucket. You got to drink this, or I'm just going to whoop your ass. For real. Which one you want? Now, come on now. Time, you got to get ready to get on the stage now.
Ooh. While two of the people on the Keefe D trial witness list has been seen as suspected suspects, it does seem like Pac was talked into going to Vegas, and Kevin Hackie went all the way in on Reggie Wright Jr., sounding convinced he had something to do with Hit. It's crazy it was on the news, and everything makes you wonder what happened to make it disappear. It really is one of the craziest twists in the entire saga how these names resurface. Shift roles from potential suspects to witnesses or informants, and then seem to vanish from the mainstream headlines right when things get deep. When you look at how the narrative was pushed, especially with figures like Kevin, Hackie pointing fingers, or the deep dives into how Pac and the rest of them got drawn out to Vegas that night, it exposes just how messy and interconnected the Compton to Vegas pipeline really was. On top of all that, Suge Knight has long been viewed by some as a possible suspect in the whole equation, sparking endless speculation and a relentless cycle of heavy finger pointing between him and Reggie Wright Jr. when you have insiders from the inner circle tossing accusations right back at the label's command structure, pointing fingers at who was really pulling the strings, controlling security, or driving the internal power struggles at death row. It generates massive media attention. With all these old rumors, proffer statements, and intense accusations floating around, it makes you wonder how explosive details like that end up all over the news, only for the mainstream spotlight to suddenly shift and let it all fade into the background, until a new trial drags it right back to the surface. Appreciate everybody locked and watching and supporting the channel. Big shout out to all the subscribers for keeping the community strong. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and stay tuned because we're keeping it locked right here with more breakdowns coming soon.